Midnight. The millionaire had hired a new maid, but the necklace she wore held a life-changing secret that would shake him to his core. Lucille Lucy Turner tightened her faded denim jacket as she stared up at the grand silhouette of Rancho Rosavale, an old yet powerful estate sitting just outside El Pozo, near the New Mexico border. The walls were adobe, warm gold in the sun, the courtyard sprawling with desert flowers and towering mesquite trees. It was beautiful, but overwhelming. She pressed her fingers to the delicate heart-shaped locket resting on her collarbone. She'd had it all her life. Today was her first day working at the ranch, and nerves stirred in her stomach like dust devils swirling in the desert wind. The heavy wooden doors swung open. Standing there was Mateo, the longtime majordomo of Rosavale. His expression was sharp, his dark eyes scanning her with a silent critique. "Señorita Turner," he said with clipped formality, Spanish accent intact, face unreadable. Lucy nodded quickly, fingers still curled around her locket for comfort. There was something about his gaze, expectation, scrutiny, and maybe something else. "Yes, sir. I'm ready to start," she said, fighting to steady her voice. Mateo simply nodded and stepped aside, gesturing for her to enter the echoing corridor lined with Tolliver tiles and old oil paintings. "Don Alejandro expects only the highest standards," Mateo warned as they walked. "Mistakes are not tolerated here." Lucy swallowed but held her chin up. "I understand. I'll do my best." Matea's eyes flicked to her locket. For a second, just a second, something like surprise crossed his face, but he turned away too quickly for her to be sure. Then a tall figure appeared at the far end of the hall. Don Alejandro Braxton, owner of Rosavale, successful land developer, and one of the wealthiest men along the border, walked toward them with steady, commanding steps. His silver-streaked hair framed a face worn by grief and years of quiet suffering. There was dignity in his posture, but sorrow in his eyes. When his gaze fell on Lucy, he paused. But when he looked at her locket, he froze entirely. His face drained pale, breath catching like he'd seen a ghost. Lucy's heart skipped. His reaction made no sense. "Miss Turner." His voice trembled slightly as he spoke. "Yes, Mr. Braxton," she replied, confused by the way he wouldn't stop staring at her pendant. He cleared his throat and quickly turned away. "Welcome to Rosavale," he said, voice strained as he walked off, footsteps echoing down the long hall. Lucy watched him disappear, unease settling in her chest. She couldn't shake the feeling that something about her locket, had struck him deeper than she could understand. The day passed in a rush of chores. Lucy learned fast, working with quiet determination through Mateo's constant cutting remarks. Every misplaced cloth, every barely visible streak on the counter earned her a scolding. Still, she refused to be discouraged. Later that night, she lay on the small bed in her modest room, staring at the locket. Rosavale felt strange, familiar, even, as though she had been here once long ago. Meanwhile, in his private office, Alejandro sat trembling with an old photograph in his hands, his daughter, smiling under the Arizona sun. Around her neck, the same heart-shaped locket, the same one Lucy wore. His throat tightened. Could it be? Fate couldn't be so cruel, or so miraculous. But he needed answers. The next day, Lucy cleaned the ranch's library when she felt someone watching her. She turned to find Alejandro standing in the doorway. His eyes weren't cold. They were searching, almost desperate. "You've adapted quickly," he said softly. "Thank you, sir," she replied. "It's an honor to work here." She hesitated before adding, "This place, it feels familiar to me. I don't know why." Alejandro's breath hitched. "Perhaps Rosavale has that effect," he said, though his voice carried a deeper truth. His gaze drifted again to her locket. Lucy touched it unconsciously. "It's all I have from my childhood. I grew up in the system, moving from one foster home to another. I don't know where I came from, or who left this with me." Alejandro swallowed hard. "Sometimes," he whispered, "our past finds us when we least expect it." She didn't understand the weight behind his words, but she felt a strange comfort. From his study window that evening, Alejandro watched her wander through the courtyard garden. Something about her, the way she moved, the serenity she found in desert flowers, felt like a memory come alive. He couldn't wait any longer. He called Ruth Waters, an old friend now working as a private investigator in Albuquerque. "Ruth, I need you to look into someone. Lucille Turner." There was a pause. After all these years, you think? I don't know, he said, voice trembling. But I need to know the truth. Days passed. The tension grew. Matteo sensed something shifting, something dangerous, something that might threaten the order he had guarded for decades. Finally, just before sunset one evening, Alejandro's phone rang. Ruth's voice crackled through. Alejandro, I found something. When Lucy was dropped at an orphanage in Las Cruces, she had a letter with her. A letter. His voice broke. It said one thing, that she needed protection. That someone would return for her. No name. No explanation. Alejandro's eyes filled with tears. Send it to me, he whispered. But Matteo had overheard enough from the hall to confirm his growing fear. Something about Lucy Turner was pulling Alejandro back into a past Matteo wanted buried forever. He confronted Alejandro. Sir, he said stiffly, I've noticed Miss Turner occupies an unusual amount of your attention lately. With all due respect. And Roosevelt braced for the storm about to break.